The girl Kira was clearly carrying 3 snake eggs, yet her body was terrifyingly frail and thin, because she was the only female in the tribe who couldn't get enough to eat. Everyone else had male mates who went out hunting daily, but she was so thin and ugly that not a single male was willing to take her. She could endure being hungry herself, but the 3 snake children in her belly couldn't, just as they were about to die from malnutrition. A Tier 9 royal serpent suddenly opened his eyes in a cave. He actually sensed his 3 children, but they were almost starving to death. The next second, he instantly transformed into his true form and rushed out of the cave. He had thought he would live alone for the rest of his life, but now it seemed he had no choice but to fulfill his duties as a mate. It turned out that just a month ago, Kira had just transmigrated to the beast world. She was entangled by a snake beastman. She cried and struggled, but it was all in vain. Later, when that beastman wasn't around, she secretly ran away. Following the route in her memory, she took a shortcut home. But when she got home, she was stunned. It was just a broken cave. Inside the cave, there was nothing but a straw nest. Kira's tears flowed uncontrollably. She was crying for the original soul. The original soul was too miserable. Because she was too thin and weak, she couldn't find a mate in the tribe. Without males going out to hunt, she had to worry about food every day. Kira once again came to the small stream behind the mountain. These days, she relied on catching fish to fill her stomach. She didn't know what was wrong. Her appetite had been particularly large these past 2 days. Previously, 1 fish could last a day, but now 2 fish weren't enough. During this period, she kept searching for food. She had almost eaten all the fish in the stream. Therefore, she planned to go deeper into the forest to take a look. Not long after walking, she actually encountered a thick chestnut tree. She picked a whole big basket full. Just in this short time, she was already starting to feel hungry. Kira walked back while touching her growling stomach. She was really hungry. When she returned to the tribe earlier, she had quietly walked around the tribe. And after this walk, surprisingly, no other beastmen noticed her existence. Then she discovered that the females in the tribe almost all had several mates. 1 female even had 20 male mates. 20 males supporting 1 female, raising her plump and strong. In the beast world, as long as you have powerful mates, you don't need to worry about food and clothing at all. Females just need to stay home and take care of the young children. Actually, taking care of young children, but most of the work of caring for young children fell to the males. They were just responsible for eating, drinking, playing, and being happy. Here, mates come first. Even children can't compare to mates. The more Kira thought about it, the more melancholy she became. She had accepted the fact of transmigration, and also accepted the fact of living in the beast world, but now she could barely support herself. Thinking about it, she couldn't help but cry again. This was too difficult. Seeing them eat meat made her want to eat too. Meanwhile, on the other side, the snake beastman Zane was hunting as usual. After eating his fill, he returned to the cave to sleep, just closed his eyes and was about to fall asleep. But the next second, he opened his eyes in shock. He had just felt the power of bloodline. It was his young children. Suddenly remembering that ridiculous mating a month ago, right in this cave. That day after he finished hunting, he had a full meal and then returned to the cave to prepare for sleep. Because there was a female in the cave, he rested in human form. While sleeping, his body began to inexplicably heat up. The female sleeping beside him inexplicably attracted him. And finally, he couldn't control himself. He still remembered how that extremely thin female cried beneath him. Zane never expected that from just that one time she actually conceived his children. Zane closed his eyes and began to carefully sense the bloodline power. This shocked him again. That thin female was actually carrying his 3 snake eggs. He had never heard of a female being able to carry 3 eggs. It was simply a miracle. He quickly transformed into his true form, then rushed out of the cave to hunt. He wanted to hunt a beast with the best meat quality. He was afraid his children would die in the womb. The royal serpent clan was powerful. Pregnant mothers needed large amounts of nutrition to supply the fetus. If nutrition was insufficient, both mother and young children would die together. When Zane thought of that extremely thin female, his mood became anxious. Such a thin body, still carrying his 3 young children. Today was the 30th day of pregnancy. Was she eating enough? Thinking about it, Zane decided to hunt 2 more beasts. On the other side, Kira picked up a smaller vine basket, planning to go outside where there was water to see if there were shrimp or something in the river. The further Kira walked forward, the more obvious the cheers and screams ahead became, as if celebrating something. Walking to the front, she saw the large open space in the middle of the tribe was full of beastmen. The males looked eager to try, while the females looked very composed. Kira followed their gaze. In the center of this open space stood the chief and a handsome male. This male was estimated to be about 1.9 meters tall, with a well-proportioned figure, 8-pack abs, and golden hair. Kira looked around, patted the most kind-looking female next to her. "Hello, what's happening now?" Coral was startled by the sudden shoulder pat. Looking at the person, she was startled again. How could there be such a thin female in the tribe? She looked like a walking skeleton wrapped in a layer of skin. Coral looked at her with pitying eyes. "Who are you? I've never seen you before." Kira felt embarrassed by her gaze. She scratched her head and said, "My name is Kira. I live on the outskirts of the tribe. Because my health isn't good and I can't walk far, so I usually don't come out. It's normal you haven't seen me. Sorry for disturbing you." Coral's heart ached looking at her. She knew who this thin female in front of her was. She was a female who had been picked up and brought back to the tribe, arranged to live in a cave on the very outskirts of the tribe. At the coming-of-age ceremony, only she hadn't been courted by any males, so she couldn't join the tribe. She never expected this female to be living so poorly, thin like a young child. Coral explained, The tribe just produced a Tier 7 warrior. Among the surrounding tribes, currently only our Lion King tribe has produced a Tier 7 warrior, so the chief gathered everyone to celebrate. Kira heard this and pondered in her mind, only then remembering a little bit about the power hierarchy of males in this world. Most male beastmen are born with power tier divisions, generally Tier 1 or Tier 2. Tier 3 can already be considered heaven's favored. Through hunting or absorbing energy, you can also improve your level, but each tier is like a chasm. The higher the tier, the more terrifying the power. So young and already Tier 7? That's really impressive, Kira affirmed, then immediately asked again, what should I call you? I want to ask, where do you all go to bathe? Upon hearing this, Coral felt she was even more pitiful. She didn't even know where to go bathe. I'm called Coral. Are you going to the water? I'm going too. Let's go together. Hearing her answer, Kira's eyes lit up. That's great, someone to lead the way. But the next second, she heard Coral shout, Klaus, come quickly, we're going to the water. Then Kira saw a tall, handsome guy walking towards them. When he reached Coral's side, he transformed into a giant golden-maned lion. Kira was stunned. Coral looked at the big lion. Klaus, look how thin she is. She's also going to the water. Can you give her a ride? In the beast world, males with mates won't allow other females on their beast bodies. That's equivalent to betrayal. But now it was his mate's request. And this female did look quite pitiful, so Klaus readily agreed. Then Kira got a free ride. All along the way, Coral kept looking at her with heartbroken eyes, making her a bit embarrassed, but her heart felt warm. Coral said gently, I've hardly seen you in the tribe. You should come out and walk around more. Maybe some male will take a liking to you. Kira didn't speak for a while, just lowered her head. After a long time, she softly said, I'm too thin. No male would like me. If there were any, there would have been at the coming-of-age ceremony. Coral was momentarily stunned, somewhat embarrassed. Then she raised her smile again. Then let's fatten you up first. I have 5 mates. They're all very strong. I'll have them hunt an extra portion to send to your home. Hearing her words, Kira suddenly raised her head. Perhaps because no one had cared for her for so long, tears immediately fell. She had been living alone in this beast world for 20 or 30 days, with no friends, no mates, not enough to eat or warm clothes. Every day when she opened her eyes, she worried about food. Now she had just met this female in front of her, and she actually said she would have her mates hunt an extra portion for her too. She was simply an angel. Hey, don't cry. I won't send it then. Don't cry. Coral thought Kira was crying because she felt looked down upon by her words. The phrase, I won't send it, made Kira stop crying. She immediately understood that Coral had misunderstood her meaning. Seeing she immediately stopped crying, Coral quickly said again, don't cry, I won't send it. Kira wiped her tears, but she hadn't planned to accept anyway. Having other people's mates support her seemed awkward no matter how you looked at it. Soon they reached their destination. Kira looked at the waterfall not far away. So it was a waterfall. All the surrounding tribes got their water here. Quick, let's go wash up. Coral had her mate come pick her up later, then pulled her towards a place where the water flowed more gently. Kira washed while sighing in her heart. She wouldn't be able to catch shrimp today. She hadn't expected it to be such a big waterfall. Her current position wasn't far from below the waterfall. Where would there be any shrimp here? After cleaning up, Coral looked at her emaciated figure, so thin that the outline of the bones was clearly visible, and felt another pang of heartache. Kira, come to my house for dinner tonight. My mate caught a really big bull beast. We can't finish it ourselves. Come eat with us. Hearing this, Kira's eyes immediately lit up. Sure, I won't have to go hungry tonight. Kira smiled and said, sure. Thank you, Coral. I'll bring you something good to eat another day. After she said this, Coral immediately turned around. Coral's eyes were red with tears almost falling. She had just said she would bring her something good to eat. She was already so thin herself, yet she still said she would bring her food. At this moment, Kira didn't know that Coral had already counted her as one of her own people. Kira washed while keeping an eye out for good stone slabs. She wanted to make a stone slab frying pan. Unfortunately, until evening when Coral's mate came to pick them up and take them back, Kira hadn't seen any suitable stone slabs. Perhaps because this was the usual time when hunting parties returned, plus everyone had been celebrating earlier. There were still many beastmen in the center of the tribe at this time. When they walked into the tribe, Kira felt many gazes. A dark-skinned, full-figured female looked at Kira with disgust and said to Coral, Coral, what's your situation? You actually let another female sit on your mate's back. Coral coldly and rudely responded, none of your damn business, I don't mind. My mate doesn't mind. Yet you're the one minding. How ridiculous. But that female still wouldn't let it go? Who is this? I've never seen her before. So thin, ugly as hell. Where are her beast mates? Wait, I remember now. Isn't this the female who lives on the outskirts of the tribe? The one no male courted at the coming-of-age ceremony? Xena said contemptuously to Coral. Coral, how did you get mixed up with this ugly thing? At this moment, Coral on the lion's back was furious. She patted the lion's body, signaling him to put her down. Kira also jumped down from the lion's body, but what she didn't expect was, Coral immediately walked over and directly slapped that female, then kicked her down with one foot, directly riding on top of her to beat her. The incident happened suddenly. Xena's mates immediately stepped forward to push Coral away. Klaus flashed forward to stop them, his eyes full of fierce light. In the beast world, females could fight, but males couldn't help, couldn't lay hands on females. As long as the other party showed any intention of making a move, the other side's males would immediately step forward to fight them. Female fights have nothing to do with you males. Xena shouted, Mason, what are you doing? You're just watching me get beaten. Her mate called Mason was currently being held down by Klaus, unable to move. Hearing the fight, another of Xena's mates hurried over, just about to step forward. He heard Klaus say coldly, Forgotten the rules? You dare touch Coral, be careful Victor breaks your legs. Victor was Coral's first beast mate, and also a tier 6 beastman. Spirit looked heartbrokenly at his mate being beaten on the ground, turned his head to look aside. His fists clenched tightly, rules must be followed. Besides, he couldn't beat Victor anyway. Coral sat on Xena, holding down both her hands with one hand, the other hand slapping back and forth. Let you run your mouth? I usually put up with your jealousy. Didn't bother with you. Now you're pushing your luck, aren't you? Insulting me is one thing. You dare insult Kira. See if I don't beat you to death today. You really piss me off. Coral beat and scolded, like a mother beast protecting her young. If you're not convinced, let your beastmates fight my beastmates. Let me see how arrogant you can be. Coral was full of confidence. Her first beastmate was a tier 6 beastman. The other 4 beastmates were all tier 5. She could be said to have very strong power in the tribe, yet some blind fool had to provoke her. Kira was completely stunned by everything in front of her. Coral looked gentle and soft. She hadn't expected her to be so fierce in a fight. She quickly went to break it up. The crowd of onlookers was growing. Kira quickly stepped forward and grabbed Coral's hand. Coral, stop fighting. Get up, get up. Being pulled like this, Coral was afraid of hurting Kira, so she stopped. She stood up and looked coldly at the onlookers, delivering harsh words. From today on, if I find out anyone dares to bully Kira, whether male or female, I won't let them off. At this moment, Kira was almost moved to tears. This was too cool. Just met and already doing this much for her. Hearing his mate's words, Klaus looked at Kira beside him and frowned. As soon as Coral stood up, Xena's mates immediately surrounded her, heartbrokenly holding her. Her whole face was swollen from the beating. But unexpectedly, Xena backhanded each of her 2 beastmates a slap. Useless. Can't even protect your own mate. The 2 beastmates' eyes were full of hurt. They never expected she would treat them like this. But they had no choice. In the beast world, males were many and females few. If they wanted offspring, they could only endure it. After this incident, Kira was too embarrassed to go freeload dinner. No matter how enthusiastically Coral invited her, she still refused. She was already very happy today. After returning home, Kira first went to the small stream behind the mountain to check the situation. Luckily, there was a fish in the vine basket. Tonight's dinner was settled. She quickly brought the fish home to process it, then began drilling wood to make fire, preparing to grill the fish. And just at this moment, outside the Lion King tribe, the males all felt a pressure from a high-tier beastman. The chief who was eating and his son Hunter, who was that tier 7 warrior, immediately stopped their actions. Just about to go out, they encountered a beastman who came to deliver a message. Chief, there's a beastman at the tribe entrance who says he wants to see you. Leon and Hunter quickly walked towards the tribe entrance. At this moment, Leon's heart was very nervous. Judging by the strength of this pressure, the other party's tier was higher than his son's. How could such a powerful being come to their tribe? And Kira knew nothing about the tense atmosphere at the entrance. She was happily grilling her fish. She just thought of it. She could throw the chestnuts into the fire to roast them. This made her even happier. The fish was grilled. Kira crouched on the ground eating the grilled fish. But as she ate, suddenly there came a commotion, from far to near. Zane never expected that when he saw her again she would be in such a pitiful state. Skinny as a skeleton, she crouched on the ground, holding a grilled spikefish in her hands, breaking off pieces bit by bit to eat. Who would eat spikefish? Only those beastmen who couldn't catch prey would eat this stuff. It was the lowest grade food choice in the beast world. Instantly, he felt somewhat heartbroken. Leon behind him was stunned. He clearly had people send meat over. How was this female still so thin? She had even fallen to eating spikefish to fill her stomach. Zane was truly angry. For a moment, he released powerful pressure. Is this how your tribe treats females? She's still a pregnant female, and you let her eat spikefish? This pressure made Leon and Hunter, who had followed unable to move. They even had to bow down. Chief Leon was greatly shocked in his heart. This beastman was actually a tier 9 beastman. Tier 7 beastmen were already outstanding on this continent. Tier 9 beastman. He didn't dare to imagine. Hunter was also stunned when he first saw Kira. How could there be such a thin female in the tribe? Fallen to eating spikefish to sustain life? And she was even pregnant. He thought he needed to properly inspect the tribe. Because he'd been busy advancing tiers recently, he hadn't properly inspected the tribe, leading to such things happening in the tribe. Kira had been eating her fish well. Being interrupted like this, she looked up at the newcomer. In just an instant, she was so scared she almost dropped her fish. Fortunately, she steadied herself. Zane looked at her flustered appearance protecting that spikefish, then looked at the many fuzzy berries on the ground. She was even picking these to eat. As a beast who had always lived alone, he had never thought of taking a mate and having children. So when he returned from hunting that day, and couldn't see this female, he didn't have any particular thoughts. But now seeing her like this, he began to regret why he hadn't looked for her then. After all, she was his female. Kira stuttered when she saw him. How did you come here? Kira thought, what's he here for? Why does it feel like he wants to cause trouble for me? Hearing her words, Zane withdrew his pressure, quickly walked over and pulled her into his arms. Kira was confused. The man put his hand on her belly, then slowly injected energy. Kira suddenly felt very comfortable. Even her hunger lessened considerably. Zane took out a huge piece of beast meat from his face, then threw it to the chief, saying, arrange a large cave for me, prepare everything, then have your tribe's healer come immediately. Leon looked at that meat in shock. That was from the Misty Forest. Such a large piece could sell for at least 300 blue spirit stones. Truly worthy of a tier 9 beastman. He turned and instructed his son, you quickly go arrange a cave, then immediately bring the healer. Hunter responded and immediately transformed into beast form and ran back. Next, Leon said to Zane, Keep this meat for yourself. It's all my fault for not managing the tribe well, letting a female live so difficultly. Your name is Kira, right? I apologize to you here. Sorry, it's my poor management. From today on, you just focus on nurturing your body in the tribe. I'll have my son Hunter deliver things. Hearing this, Zane sneered lightly. Who cares about your stuff? With me here, what kind of prey can't I catch? You just need to arrange what I said. Leon smiled apologetically. I'll definitely arrange it well for you. Kira was confused from beginning to end. Why would this beastman appear here? And why was the chief nodding and bowing to him? She had just heard them mention something about pregnant females while she was eating fish. Kira suddenly looked at her own belly. What pregnancy? She asked Zane somewhat tremblingly. What did you just say? I'm pregnant? Feeling her trembling body, the man held her tighter. Mine, carrying 3. Kira's eyes rolled back and she fainted directly. Before fainting, her mind only had one phrase, I'm doomed. When Kira woke up, she was being held in the man's arms. In front of her, a very old female was feeling her pulse. The healer was somewhat shocked. Such a thin female actually possesses such powerful reproductive ability. She knew how difficult reproduction was for the Royal Serpent clan. Generally, it was 1 per pregnancy, but now this little female was actually carrying 3 at once, and each one had very strong vitality. The healer looked kindly at Kira. Your children are very healthy. I'll prescribe some medicine for you. Drink it for 4 days straight. It's good for both you and the children. Kira was somewhat depressed. No wonder she was always hungry so fast. Ate so much but didn't gain weight. Turns out it was all eaten by the chunk of meat in her belly. The next second, Elder Healer Maya smiled and spoke again. Want to get the mating mark? I can give you the bonding mark. Kira was confused again. What was a mating mark? Finally, Kira got the mark in confusion. After the marking, a snake mark appeared on her chest, and that beastman had a rabbit mark appear on his chest. Kira had confusedly become a female with a mate, and her mate was very powerful. Only when she learned that her mate was a snake beastman, and that she was carrying 3 little snakes, her eyes rolled back again and she fainted. When she woke up again, she was already in a strange cave, lying on a soft grass nest. Her tools were also neatly arranged to one side. There was also a large stone table in the cave, with a pile of fruit on it. In the past, when she woke up, she would be particularly hungry, even hungry to the point of stomach pain. But today, she actually wasn't. She found it magical. Could it be because the children's father came? The little children sensed their father's presence. At this time, a shout came from outside the cave. Kira, are you awake? Kira heard this and walked out of the cave, seeing Coral and her mate waiting at the cave entrance. Seeing her come out, Coral happily stepped forward and took her arm. Do you like living in this cave? I arranged it for you. When I heard Hunter say he was arranging a cave for you, I volunteered to take it on. Kira smiled and looked at her. Thank you. I live here very well. I like it very much. Suddenly, Coral leaned over and whispered to her, Nice going, Kira. Found such a powerful beast mate. From now on, no one will dare bully you. Kira was puzzled. Powerful? How powerful? She seemed to really have no memory of this aspect. Could it be she forgot? Coral said seriously. Put it this way, you can throw your weight around in this forest, and even across the entire southern continent, it wouldn't be too much. That powerful? Kira was shocked. Coral suddenly grabbed her hand, walking towards the neighboring cave while saying, You must be hungry. Your beast mate told our family he's going back to get some things. Asked me to look after you. Your beast mate gave me a really big piece of beast meat. Today you'll eat with me first. Eat as much as you want. Only then did Kira realize Coral was her neighbor. That was really nice. Arriving at Coral's home, 4 males were cooking. Seeing them come in, the beast mate Klaus she had met that day immediately said, We can start eating. Coral excitedly pulled her to sit down. The other 5 beastmates sat beside them. The beastmates served Coral her meal. While Coral took care of Kira's meal, this made her somewhat amused. Tonight they ate grilled meat. Still like before, the meat had no flavor at all, even quite fishy. But Kira still forced herself to eat it. Kira looked at Coral's family's cooking tools. They were all just for grilling meat. It seemed they still didn't understand what cooking food meant. Kira asked, Do you all eat grilled food? Coral nodded. The other beastmates' faces showed curiosity, obviously finding Kira's question very puzzling, because everyone ate this way. I'll teach you a new way to eat, but first we need a stone pot. With a stone pot, we can cook things, we can make soup to drink. Drinking soup in cold season can warm the body. Upon hearing this, all the beasts present had shining eyes. Warming the body in cold season, this was too good. Coral was puzzled. Kira, what's a stone pot? This question left her somewhat unsure how to answer. Kira thought for a moment and said, Your beastmates should be able to carve stone with their abilities, right? Of course they can. My first beastmate Victor is a tier 6 warrior. His ability is wind. He can cut through anything. Hearing this, Kira was delighted. Then that's easy, Coral. Come on, let's go to the water, where we bathed last time. I already spotted it. There are several big stones perfect for making pots. Before long, Kira and Coral with her beastmates came to the water. The beastmates first moved 2 large pebbles to the shore. Then Kira began directing Victor to cut and craft the stone pot. After finishing, he even polished it smooth. Soon, 2 high-quality stone pots were completed. Kira even made 2 sets of stone cookware, spoons, plates, bowls, soup dishes, everything arranged. Seeing it wasn't dark yet, Kira suggested looking around nearby to see if there were any good things. And indeed, she actually discovered chili peppers and ginger. Kira's heart was incomparably excited. With ginger, she could eat meat without fishy taste. She picked some chili peppers, then had Coral's other beastmates carefully dig out the roots. She wanted to take them back to plant. Then the group returned home with a full harvest. Coral's beast mates each took on different tasks. One immediately started the fire, one washed the stone pot clean, another cut the meat and ginger and chili as she instructed. Kira saw that the beast mate washing the pot could produce water with a light finger movement to fill the stone pot. This water ability was really nice. Later she would also need to find a beast mate with water ability, then she wouldn't have to worry about water. Put the meat in cold water, throw in 2 pieces of ginger. After the water boiled, foam appeared in the pot. Kira used a spoon to remove the foam. After cleaning it was a pot of meat soup. At this time, Coral brought out the salt. Kira looked at the salt. It was yellow coarse salt, but it was better than nothing. Kira pinched a small amount with her fingertips and put it in the soup. Just to add some flavor, Kira served everyone a bowl of meat soup. They all expressed it was very novel. Everyone tasted a sip of the soup, then looked with wide eyes in surprise. This meat actually had no fishy taste at all, and was very fresh. Coral drank the meat soup while looking at her with admiration. "Kira, you're amazing, you know so much." Next, Kira taught them how to render oil. The oil was extracted by frying the fattiest parts of beast meat. This oil fragrance made all the beasts drool. Finally, Kira used the freshly rendered beast oil to fry a piece of tender meat, seasoned with the only available salt and chili. A group of beasts ate with such satisfaction. Coral ate until she was full. This was the first time she had eaten such delicious food. The meat had no fishy taste, and was tender and fragrant. "I never knew these could taste so good, Kira, you're really amazing." Kira smiled in response. "If you like it, eat more." Then Kira said to Coral's several beast mates, "Coral likes it so much. You guys better learn well." Several males nodded repeatedly. After a busy day, Kira was also tired, so she went home to sleep. Pregnant people really did fall asleep as soon as they hit the bed. In the middle of the night, half asleep, she felt someone beside her pull her into their arms, with a hand gently stroking her belly. But she was really too sleepy, and fell asleep again immediately. Kira had a rare good night's sleep. She sat up in her nest and stretched, suddenly discovered she wasn't wearing yesterday's beast hide. This material was like gauze, much more comfortable and cooler than beast hide. Kira suddenly paused. This couldn't have been changed by that snake beast, right? "He's my mate, it's normal, it's normal," Kira comforted herself. She tidied up the bed, then walked outside. When Kira came out, she saw her mate was actually learning to cook from Victor. Only then did Kira discover that her mate was really freaking handsome. She hadn't paid much attention before. When they first met, she had just transmigrated, still in shock. She had no mood to appreciate handsome guys. The second time they met, when the chief came with him, she was eating and suddenly seeing him startled her. She even thought he came for revenge. After all, there was an unwritten rule in the beast world. If a male picked up a female outside, if the male was single, then that female was his mate. She had to say, looking carefully now, her mate was devastatingly handsome, with a model-like face and comic book-like figure. Kira's gaze inexplicably looked towards a certain area. If she wasn't mistaken, there were 2 there. Kira quietly blushed. Suddenly something flowed to her mouth. She was just about to reach up and touch it, but in an instant she was in the man's arms. In the blink of an eye, Kira appeared in front of the healer. Only then did she see the blood on her hand. Damn, how did looking at a handsome guy cause a nosebleed? Zane held her urgently and anxiously looking at the healer. "Quick, examine her. Why is she suddenly bleeding?" Kira at this moment was so embarrassed she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. She tugged at his arm, saying quietly, "I'm fine. I was just a bit excited." Zane looked puzzled. "Excited? Why excited? Is this meat so delicious? Then I'll go catch more later." At this moment, Kira really had a head full of black lines. This was the bad thing about Beast World. Sometimes communication was very difficult. Kira thought for a moment, still blushing as she motioned for him to lower his head, then leaned close to his ear and said, I just thought you looked too good. I'm fine. Let's go back quickly." Hearing her words, Zane was both amused and exasperated. This was the first time he'd heard of someone bleeding from looking at a handsome guy. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curve into a smile. Elder healer Maya watched the two's interaction. As if no one else was there, she smiled kindly. "Since you're already here, let me take another look." Zane held her and stepped forward, then half knelt in front of the healer. This way the person in his arms was more comfortable. Kira also obediently extended her hand for the healer to check her pulse. She was malnourished before because she couldn't eat enough. Later with the children, you know the children in her womb absorb a lot. You must ensure she eats and drinks enough every day. The medicine I prescribed before must be taken every day. Not a single day can be missed. She's so thin now because her nutrition can't keep up. Kira was still somewhat confused. "You mean that the nutrition I'm eating now still can't keep up? Everything I eat gets absorbed by the children, causing me not to gain weight? Is that what you mean?" The healer withdrew her hand and looked at her, saying kindly, "Yes, you can understand it that way. Your beast mate is from the Royal Serpent clan. His kind has extremely strong natural abilities. Even as children, they need to absorb a lot of energy. If they don't absorb enough, they'll start absorbing the mother's energy. But don't worry too much. Your beast mate is very powerful. You must not hate the children because of their unconscious absorption. When you have enough energy supplemented, when the children have absorbed enough, you'll gain weight." At the same time, Zane's arms holding her tightened again. At this moment, his heart was both nervous and afraid. He finally remembered this fact he had ignored. They didn't mate naturally. He had forced her. Although in the beast world, picking up a female when he was single meant she could be said to be his female, mating still required the female's consent. Feeling the man's arms holding her gradually tighten, Kira thought he was worried she would hate the children. She put her hand on his hand, Don't worry, I won't hate the children, they're my children. I love them more than enough. Hearing her words, Zane's eyes reddened. His nose felt sour. On the way back they walked. Zane carried her. Kira in his arms always felt like she had missed something. After thinking for a long time, she finally figured it out. She didn't even know what her mate was called. Kira started throwing a little tantrum. You never told me your name. Mysteriously got pregnant. I don't even know what the children's father is called. Tell me, is this reasonable? Hearing her words, Zane's mouth curved into a smile. Then he became serious. My fault. I did poorly. My name is Zane. Tier 9 Beastman. Beast form is Snake. Damn, his voice was too pleasant too. Zane's eyes darkened. He held the person in his arms a bit tighter, his tone carrying guilt. Sorry, for forcing you to mate. That was my wrongdoing. It wasn't intentional then. I picked you up in the forest. You only had one breath left. Females are precious. I didn't know if you could survive. But I knew that if I just left you alone in the forest like that, you definitely wouldn't survive. So I brought you back to my cave. The day I mated with you, I had gone out hunting. That beast had some intelligence. I fought with it for a long time. Then chasing it, I came to a place full of red flowers. Today when I went hunting with Victor, I passed that flower field again. I asked him and learned these flowers are called passion flowers. Their fragrance has aphrodisiac effects. Generally, beastmen will pick 1 or 2 flowers to use for mating and flirtation. I had smelled a lot of flower fragrance then. Zane's voice got smaller and smaller as he spoke. So I'm sorry, Kira, don't hate the children, okay? I'm very strong, I can support you and the children, he said somewhat chokingly, burying his head in Kira's shoulder. Kira felt the moisture on her shoulder. She reached out and touched his head. I know now, maybe I should thank you. You also saved my life. I just said, I won't hate the children, they're my children. How could a mother hate her children? Our meeting might be blessed by the gods. I was about to starve to death in the wild. You encountered me and brought me back to the cave, even gave me a bite to eat. Then I got pregnant with your children. This might be fate. This damn fate talk. Kira made herself want to laugh. Hearing her words, Zane raised his head, his eyes red, filled with indescribable emotions. At this moment, he secretly swore in his heart he would take good care of her for the rest of his life, love and protect her. Absolutely never let her be wronged. She was worth it. On the walk back, Kira and they received a wave of attention. Who could have thought that the thinnest, most unwelcome female in a tribe would actually have a legendary high-tier beast mate, and she was actually carrying triplets, which also proved her fertility was extremely strong. People in the tribe discussed, that's the female, right? Really underestimated her. Exactly. At the coming-of-age ceremony, no one chose her. Who could have thought with such a thin frame she actually conceived 3? This is a tier 9 beastman? So handsome, good-looking and strong, this female really has good luck. Amid the whispered discussions, Kira returned to the cave entrance, but discovered Coral's cave entrance was full of people. She was just puzzled. The next second came Coral's voice. This is called a stone pot. This is a stone bowl. This is a spoon. This is a plate used for holding food. Coral was currently giving everyone detailed explanations. It turned out after Kira left, Coral had started eating by herself. Who knew that after a while, the beast cave entrance was actually full of beasts? Coral asked them why they all came. Was there something they needed to find her for? They all said they smelled a very fragrant scent, followed the aroma over, then saw the stone pot cooking food. They pointed at the stone pot, expressing great curiosity, busy asking about all information regarding the stone pot. Coral explained to them. At the same time, someone saw Kira returning, quickly shouted, Coral, Kira's back! Now in the Lion King tribe, the name Kira was known by everyone. Hearing Kira was back, Coral immediately ran out. Those people also automatically made way. Coral pulled Kira into the cave while saying, Kira, come quickly. They're all here to learn. They also want stone pots and bowls. Kira looked at the crowd almost filling the cave. She was somewhat surprised. You all want stone pots? Everyone nodded. Yes, we all want them. We also want to learn how to cook food, Coral said somewhat excitedly. Kira, this cooking method you taught me really makes such delicious meat. You know how they came? They followed the aroma. She never expected that one day she would be looked at with such admiring eyes by so many people. She was so happy she could die. Only then did Kira remember that these beastmen currently didn't know how to use utensils at all. If females didn't eat raw meat, males would just grill it over fire and give it to them. Males were even simpler, eating raw directly. Since she was here, let this person with 1,000 years of cultural heritage teach everyone. Alright, later you call your beastmates. In a bit we'll go to the water. I'll eat first. After I'm full we'll set out. Everyone unanimously agreed. Then each went home to call their beastmates. Coral sat beside her, looking at her with admiring and excited eyes. Kira felt very uncomfortable being looked at. Why are you looking at me like that? Do I have flowers on my face? I'm just happy. They just came to find me. Saying they also wanted stone pots, wanted to trade prey for the making method. I told them this stone pot was made by you, these cookware too. They were all stunned. When I thought of their expressions then, I felt so satisfied, like I had gotten revenge. Before, those females in the tribe looked down on the thin Kira so much. But now she not only had a super powerful beastmate, but also had the strong reproductive ability they envied. Even the stone pots and cookware they wanted were all thought up by Kira. Really slapped everyone's faces hard. Kira smiled. As long as you're happy, there will be more things to teach you in the future. Hearing her words, Coral's eyes were full of bright, sparkling light. From today, she was Kira's #1 fan. Kira was eating when there was movement at the cave entrance again. Quick, give this prey to Kira. Give this beast hide to Kira. Coral and Kira looked at each other, then walked outside together. The cave entrance was full of people. Those females who said they wanted stone pots, bringing their beast mates, with lots of things piled at the entrance. There was prey, beast hides, fruits of unknown names, and several things like blue gems. Kira was stunned. What is this for? This is our thank you gift. Please don't be polite. We can't let you teach us for nothing. Right, I heard you're still carrying children. You're so thin, you must eat more. Look at this meat. It's very nourishing. They spoke very happily. Everyone looked excited. Coral also persuaded from the side. Kira, just accept it. It's everyone's sincere gesture. Kira nodded. She wasn't taking it for free anyway. There were many more things to teach them in the future. Then thank you, everyone. I'll have Coral notify you to gather at the tribe entrance later. After saying goodbye to everyone, Kira looked at the supplies all over the ground and fell into melancholy. So much. How to store it all. Coral, see if there's anything you like. Take what you fancy. Coral quickly waved her hands. I don't want it. I don't lack anything. This is everyone's thank you gift to you. Seeing her worried face, Zane, who had been standing to the side, smiled and spoke. Kira, are you worried about how to store these things? Yeah, our cave can't fit so much. Zane walked behind her, one hand around her waist. Then with the other hand, he just waved. The supplies that had been all over the ground instantly disappeared. Seeing this scene, Kira's eyes widened in surprise. Was this the space from novels, making things disappear all at once? She looked at Zane with shining eyes, her tone excited. Is this a space ability? Zane thought she was somewhat cute like this. Her current appearance was like a child who had discovered something fun. I have 3 abilities: ice, fire, and space. As soon as he finished speaking, Victor beside him had his pupils shake. He actually had 3 abilities, and 2 natural element abilities plus 1 space ability. No wonder he was a tier 9 beastman. Kira at this moment was really excited. These things she had only seen in novels. She never expected to witness them personally one day. You're too amazing. So, your space, is it the kind that can keep food in its original state? My space is controlled by my thoughts. I can make it maintain its current state forever, Zane answered with a smile. Then he picked her up and walked into the cave. Eat properly first. Eat more. I can use the stone pot to cook things now. I'll cook for you tonight. Zane put her down by the pot, took the bowl from her hands, and served her another bowl. Only after Kira finished eating did Coral excitedly stand up. Kira, let me go notify them to gather at the tribe entrance first. I'll be right back after tidying up. Okay, I'll be there soon. Coral turned around, and Victor immediately transformed into beast form, a majestic big lion. After Coral climbed on, he leaped out of the cave. Kira thought in her heart, this big lion was really handsome. She turned to look at Zane beside her, saying, I want to see your beast form. Zane was amused by her playful expression. He indulgently said okay. Then he transformed into his beast form, deliberately shrinking a lot. Otherwise, with his power level, this cave wouldn't be able to contain him. Kira exclaimed, your beast form is so beautiful. Black shining scales. They even shimmer with iridescent colors in the sunlight. She couldn't help reaching out to touch it. It felt so good. She'd have him transform into beast form to sleep at night. So much cooler. As if suddenly remembering something, Zane transformed back to human form, then produced several things like blue gems. Looking at the stones glowing blue, Kira looked puzzled. What are these? Zane took her hand and placed these 10 blue spirit stones in her palm, then took out a full bag and put it in her hands. Kira took these stones to examine closely. Quite pretty. Zane said, these are called blue spirit stones. They're the currency that circulates among beastmen. When we usually go hunting, some prey will have these spirit stones in their bodies. Spirit stones can be used by males for leveling up. For females, they can strengthen the body. High-level spirit stones can even increase a female's lifespan. But for females to use spirit stones, they need male help, because generally females don't have abilities. Kira caught an important point. Generally, females don't have abilities, so that means some females do awaken abilities? Zane nodded. There are such cases, but very rare. Generally, females who awaken abilities become shamans. Those with outstanding abilities become high-level shamans, and they usually live in super tribes. Super tribes, Kira suddenly felt she needed to properly understand beast world culture. Zane said somewhat indulgently, keep this bag of blue spirit stones. If it's not enough, I'll give you more. There are many purple spirit stones in my space. Purple spirit stones, Kira was confused again. Seeing her puzzled face, Zane felt somewhat sorry for her. She didn't even know what blue spirit stones and purple spirit stones were. With a thought, a purple spirit stone appeared in his hand. Then he placed the spirit stone in Kira's palm, carefully explaining to her. Blue spirit stones are the lowest quality spirit stones. Generally, wild beasts will have spirit stones in their bodies. Purple spirit stones are from beasts 1 tier higher than blue spirit stone beasts. Going up are red spirit stones and black spirit stones, and black spirit stones are invaluable. If converted to Beastmen tiers, blue spirit stones are equivalent to Beastmen tier 3, purple spirit stones equivalent to Beastmen tier 5, red spirit stones equivalent to Beastmen tier 8. Black spirit stones are said to be equivalent to tier 12. Tier 12, in all the continents I've traveled, never mind tier 12, there are only 2 tier 9 Beastmen total, I'm one of them. So on this continent, you can do anything you want to do, because no one is my match. Kira looked at him, a complex emotion welling up in her heart. She didn't understand what it was, but at this moment, she wanted to kiss him. Lower your head. Zane obediently lowers his head. The next second, a warm pair of lips presses against his, feeling the warmth on his lips. He sweeps her up in his arms and deepens the kiss. What she just said really makes his heart race. When they stop, both their faces are flushed red. We should go, or Coral and the others will wait too long. Kira places the spirit stone in his hand. Zane puts the spirit stone back into his space, then carries her toward the water's edge. Seeing Kira approaching, Coral immediately calls everyone to head to the water. Kira looks at the scene before her in amazement. So many beastmen? Coral smiles broadly. Yes, word spread from 10 to 100, and now the whole tribe knows. Almost every free beastman came. Everyone arrives at the water's edge. Kira stands to the side, instructing everyone on what kind of stones to look for to make stone pots. Then, Victor begins the cutting demonstration. After some effort, everyone has a smooth stone pot in their hands. At this moment, Kira looks toward the large trees by the water's edge. An idea sprouts in her mind. Stone bowls are still a bit heavy. Wooden bowls would be much more convenient. Darling, cut that tree from this position and then split it in half. Darling? What does that mean? Though Zane is puzzled, he knows Kira is talking to him. He slightly raises his hand, and an ultra-thin ice blade swiftly flies past. The giant tree crashes to the ground with a thunderous sound. Another ice blade and the tree splits into two halves. Kira directs her mate to cut the tree into blocks while instructing Victor to make wooden bowls the same way they made stone bowls. Stone bowls are still a bit heavy and not very convenient. Today I'll teach everyone to make wooden bowls. Soon, a complete set of tableware is finished, each piece polished to a smooth finish. Everyone stares in amazement. Zane is also surprised. He never thought it could be done this way. His mate is truly incredible. Next, everyone follows the steps to make their own set. After seeing that everyone has finished making their bowls and utensils, Kira originally planned to return directly to the tribe, but suddenly remembers that without water abilities, drinking water would be very inconvenient, so she decides to make water storage tools. Kira picks a relatively thick tree. She has Zane cut down the tree and divide it into several sections, hollow out the center wood, then polish it. Soon, a large wooden barrel is completed. Kira also has them make a lid and a wooden ladle for scooping water. Kira explains each tool one by one and demonstrates how to use them. Alright, this is a clean wooden barrel that can store water. Does everyone understand? If you do, start working on your own. Soon, the others begin making their own. Coral takes the water ladle Victor made and immediately goes to the water's edge to scoop a ladle of water. Her eyes light up. Kira, you're really too smart. After working for so long, Kira is now hungry. Actually, she's been hungry for a while, thinking she'd wait until everyone finished before going back, but now she can't wait any longer. She glances at the man beside her. The man immediately wraps his arm around her waist and softly asks if she's tired or hungry. Kira nods in his embrace. I'm hungry. I want to eat pan-fried meat. Upon hearing this, Zane immediately picks her up and carries her back to the cave. Before long, Kira is happily eating pan-fried beef at home. She marvels once again at how excellent the meat quality in this beast world is, truly fat and tender. In her previous life, she had eaten quite a few steaks, but none were as delicious as this. Zane flips the meat in the pan while smiling at her. You seem to really love eating this meat. Kira eats with a face full of satisfaction. This meat is so delicious, so fat and tender. Then I'll catch more for you to eat your fill. Watching this handsome man pan-frying meat for her while speaking sweet words, she suddenly feels that the hardships she endured before weren't in vain. Indeed, having a mate is wonderful. She can eat her fill at every meal. Kira continues eating with relish. Outside, many beastmen have already arrived one after another. At this moment, Coral also comes to the cave entrance. Kira, have you eaten your fill? Everyone's waiting outside. Once you're full, I'll go tell them. Kira looks at Coral's excited expression and finds it inexplicably amusing. She's like a little sun, always full of energy. 5 minutes later, Kira's cave is packed with beastmen. After arranging seating for everyone, Kira begins her lesson. First, she teaches how to render oil from fat, then how to use oil to pan-fry meat, how to use pots to cook food, and the usage of various seasonings. Zane assists from the side. At this moment, Kira seems like a kindergarten teacher. With all the beastmen standing obediently and listening, each casting admiring glances at Kira. After another round of excited discussion, Kira is starting to feel sleepy. She's taught enough for now. I need to go rest. The moment Kira mentions rest, Zane sweeps her up and walks into the cave. Then he carefully places her on the grass nest. Sleep well, call me if you need anything. Kira was about to say something, but the next second she falls asleep. Watching her sleeping form, Zane feels warmth in his heart. He transfers more energy into her abdomen. With sufficient energy, the children will calm down and won't absorb Kira's energy. When Zane returns outside, everyone has already helped clean up everything. The pots are washed sparkling clean, and they all excitedly head home to experiment with what they've learned. Kira sleeps very deeply. When she wakes up, it's already the next morning. Why did you wake up so early? Seeing her awake, Zane quickly picks her up and walks toward the cave entrance. After these few days of living together, he already knows Kira's living habits well. For instance, after waking up in the morning, she must use fragrant wood branches to clean her mouth, then wash her face with water, and only then can she eat. Kira rubs her eyes and answers. Maybe because I slept early yesterday, so I woke up early today. Zane lights the fire while asking if she wants pan-fried meat again today. Kira nods. Have you noticed that I've been sleeping longer and longer, and my appetite has gotten much bigger too? Zane explains, you're carrying children, so increased sleep and appetite are normal. Your current appetite isn't even that big yet. After 45 days, your appetite will be even larger. Kira used to wonder what it would be like when she became a mother, but she never imagined she'd actually become a mother, and the children would be 3 snakes. How long until I give birth? Pregnancy takes over 2 months. After the children are born, I'll need to incubate the eggs for about 60 days. As Zane speaks, he suddenly realizes that currently Kira only has him as a mate. Once the children are born and he needs to incubate the eggs, he won't be able to take care of her. Zane's brow furrows, his expression somewhat melancholy. He originally hadn't thought about finding Kira a second mate, because no one was stronger than him, and he was completely capable of taking care of and protecting her. But now, once Kira gives birth, he'll need to undergo 2 months of egg incubation. He can't leave the snake eggs. Snake eggs have requirements for temperature and humidity. Once he starts incubating, the eggs will remember his temperature. If he leaves, the little snakes in the eggs will stop growing and become dead eggs. So he can only go without eating or drinking for 2 months of incubation, then wait for the little snakes to be born, unable to hunt. Noticing his face suddenly looks terrible, Kira's heart jumps, and she quickly asks, "What's wrong? Why does your face suddenly look so bad?" Zane crouches in front of her, looking at her seriously. "Kira, after the snake eggs are born, I'll need to incubate them. During these 2 months of incubation, I can't leave the snake eggs, or our children won't be able to be born." Kira's worried heart settles down. She thought it was something major. "After the children are born, you just focus on incubating the eggs." Zane's tone is serious, Kira. "Not being able to leave the snake eggs means I won't be able to take care of you or go out hunting. You need to find another mate, or even more. In the beast world, almost every female has at least 4 or 5 mates. Some even have dozens. Though he doesn't want it, Kira having only him as a mate is indeed unreasonable. At this moment, Kira's head buzzes. Is her husband trying to find her a second husband? Kira comforts him. "I can take care of myself. When the time comes, you just focus on incubating the eggs. How can you take care of yourself in your condition? Before I came, you were eating spike beasts to fill your stomach. I can't go out hunting. Are you going to eat spike beasts again?" Zane is a bit angry. Kira sheepishly touches her nose. "Kira, it's still spring now. Plants grow rapidly, and so do wild beasts, so food isn't scarce. But next will come the hot season, rainy season, and cold season. I alone might not be able to take good care of you. Especially during cold season, I'll hibernate. Cold season hunting is the most difficult. If you only have me as a mate, you might not survive the cold season. Moreover, we now have children, so my suggestion is that you need to find another powerful mate." Zane speaks very seriously. Kira also remembers that, indeed, during cold season, food is very hard to find. So beastmen start storing food from spring. Kira begins recalling her memories. In the memories, this body's father and mother had already started digging holes to store food at this time. Once hot season arrives, withered plants are everywhere, and wild beasts rarely come out. Not to mention rainy season and cold season. During rainy season, everything is flooded, and you have to worry about whether your home will be submerged. Once flooded, you have to migrate to higher ground. And snake species will uncontrollably hibernate during cold season. Zane won't be able to take care of her. With her small arms and legs, where would she find food during cold season? Thinking of this, Kira sighs. "I understand." At this moment, a voice comes from the cave entrance. "Kira, are you awake?" Kira wonders. "Who's calling me?" Zane says, "I'll go check," then turns and walks outside. Soon, the golden-haired beastman she saw before walks in. Kira immediately recognizes this beastman. "It's the one from the celebration that day, aren't you? Aren't you that—" Seeing her stammering, Hunter feels awkward. He thought Kira at least knew who he was. "I'm Hunter. Chief Leon is my father." "Hunter, what brings you to see me?" At this moment, Zane beside them is carefully sizing up Hunter. The last time he came to see Kira, it was this beastman who guided him. 7th tier beastman Chief's son looks decent too, though not as good as himself. Still not bad. Hunter smiles at Kira. "I came to understand some things. May I sit down to talk?" "Please sit." Kira points to the stone stool, indicating he should sit. "It's like this. I want to ask how much of the meat the tribe sent you did you actually receive?" Kira hears this with some confusion. What does this mean? Does he want the meat back? Beside them, Zane watches him, eyes narrowing slightly, dangerous aura flowing through the air. If this guy is here to take the meat back, he'll throw him out directly. It must be said that Hunter really has zero intuition. Even Kira can sense Zane's displeased aura, but he sits there properly as if nothing's happening. Kira speaks coolly. "What does this mean? Now that you see I have a mate, you want to take back what you gave me?" Hunter hurriedly explains anxiously. "No, how could that be? I was thinking, my father gave you quite a lot of meat each time, which should have been completely sufficient for a female to eat. How did you still end up eating spike beasts to fill your stomach?" His words make Kira fall silent. She begins to recall, when she first arrived at the tribe on the 1st and 2nd days, the meat the tribe sent was indeed a lot, completely enough for her alone to eat. But later the meat became less and less, especially after the coming-of-age ceremony. The meat sent over was only enough for one meal. She was so hungry she had no choice but to search everywhere for food. Hunter listens to Kira's words, his face darkening. "Actually, our tribe doesn't have a tradition of sending meat to females. The meat sent to you was actually my father's own food. He took a large portion from his own food to give to you." Upon hearing this, Kira's mouth twitches. "So where did that food go?" Now Hunter can be certain that something definitely went wrong in some part of the process, which is why she received so little meat. At this moment, a slender hand passes over a bowl full of meat. Kira, it's time to eat. Kira looks toward Zane beside her. At this moment, he looks like someone abandoned by his mate, his eyes full of resentment. She probably got too absorbed in talking with Hunter and didn't even notice when Zane finished pan-frying the meat. Kira takes the bowl with both hands and gives him a sweet smile. Thank you, you're the best mate. Originally unhappy, Zane's displeasure completely vanishes after hearing this sentence, and his face also takes on a blush. Even his speech becomes stuttering. You're welcome. This is what I should do as a beast mate. Does it taste good? There's more after you finish. Kira eats while smiling and nodding at him. Zane can't help but smile, then continues concentrating on pan-frying meat. At this moment, Hunter beside them has also finished understanding the situation. Sorry to bother you. I'll go back and investigate this matter. I'll notify you when I have results. I'll leave now. With that, he quickly walks away. He leaves so fast that Kira doesn't have time to say anything before he's already gone. I still had questions to ask, Kira mutters quietly. From Hunter's words, it's clear that her meat was definitely taken by someone. She carefully recalls, trying to find the appearance of the beastman who delivered the meat from her memories. It's because of that damn beastman who stole the meat that the original soul starved to death. Just as she's thinking, her bowl is taken by a large hand. What, did you take a fancy to that Hunter? The moment he left, you look lost. If you want him as a mate, I can go snatch him for you. Zane speaks while putting the bowl full of meat back in her hands. Kira takes the bowl, looking at Zane teasingly while eating. I sense jealousy in the air. Kira wants to tease him, saying somewhat mischievously, really? You can actually snatch him? Zane's hand pan-frying meat suddenly stops. Then he puts down the chopsticks and sits to the side looking toward the cave entrance. Did she really take a fancy to that lion? How could she actually want him? Seeing him sulking like this, Kira finds it amusing. She stands up, walks to his side, then crouches down to look at him. Why are you unhappy now? Weren't you the one who said you'd snatch him to be my mate? I agreed, so why are you angry? Kira really wants to burst out laughing at this moment, but she hasn't had enough fun yet, so she holds it in. Zane looks at her half-smiling face and can't say anything for a long time, so he simply turns to the other side and doesn't look at her. He doesn't understand his own feelings right now. Earlier he was telling her she needed to find a new mate, but now that he actually sees her interested in another male, he feels miserable. Suddenly, a pair of hands embrace him from behind, and a gentle voice sounds behind him. I was just teasing you. When did I ever take a fancy to Hunter? I was just thinking, if Hunter finds the beastman who stole my meat, how will he punish this beastman? Kira leans against his back, saying somewhat sadly, if the punishment is too light, I won't be satisfied because I nearly starved to death back then. If the punishment is too heavy, I think even heavy punishment won't be that severe. After all, I'm still here safe and sound. Suddenly, with a turn, Kira finds herself straddling his lap facing him. This position inexplicably makes her heart race. Zane stares into her eyes, saying in a firm tone, if you want, I can kill him for you. Kira falls silent. She wants that beastman who stole the meat to pay a price, but also feels it's not worth killing him. But the original soul can't just die for nothing. She suddenly feels very tired. How should she handle this? I'm tired, I want to sleep. Kira deflates like a punctured balloon, leaning against his embrace. I don't want to think about it. I'll decide later. Zane sweeps her up and walks into the cave, then gently places her on the grass nest. Sleep well. I'll be outside. Call me if you need anything. When Kira groggily wakes up, she sees Zane in front of her with an anxious expression. Kira rubs her eyes and asks, what's wrong? Seeing her wake up, Zane's worried heart finally settles. He half crouches in front of Kira. You slept for a whole day without eating anything. I was very worried about you. He had just transferred quite a bit of energy to Kira while she was sleeping, afraid the children would devour Kira's own energy. Kira, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. Anything is fine. I am a bit hungry. You decide. All right, I'll pan-fry meat for you again. Today they caught cattle and brought them over, enough for you to eat for quite a while. Zane smiles while taking out a large piece of beef from his space. With a slight finger movement, this large piece of meat has already been cut into many small pieces. Just then, Coral and Victor walk in from outside. Coral looks happy. Kira, you're finally awake. I haven't seen you all day. I missed you so much. Kira smiles in response. I slept for a long time today and scared my mate. At this moment, Zane is pan-frying meat. Hearing Kira's voice, he looks up at her seriously. You really did scare me. I know you sleep more after being pregnant, but you slept for a whole day without eating or drinking. Kira walks in front of him and sits down, touching his face. I'm sorry for worrying you. It's okay, Zane says, somewhat haltingly. If Kira looked carefully, she'd notice his ears are completely red. Kira, you don't even know. Today the females brought fruits, beast hides, and all sorts of things. They filled up the cave entrance. Coral recalls the morning scene with amazement. That scene was even livelier than our tribe celebrations. Speaking of which, Coral suddenly sits beside Kira, looking at her with a heartbroken expression. thinking of how you were still eating spike beasts before, but fortunately, now you don't have to. This meat is more than enough. Kira smiles. Actually, spike beasts are edible. Although they have many spikes, their meat is very fresh and tender, especially good for making fish soup. It seems she needs to educate them about fish knowledge. The fish in this beast world are simply too delicious. When she grilled them before, they were so fragrant, and the taste was very fresh and sweet. She doesn't dare imagine how delicious it would be if these fish were used to make soup. Coral expresses confusion. Spike beasts are delicious? Actually, spike beasts are very tasty, it's just that you don't know how to eat them. When I couldn't get enough food before, I would go to the back mountain to catch spike beasts to grill. They were so delicious that I caught all the spike beasts on the back mountain. Kira says this with a smile, but everyone looks at her with pitying and heartbroken expressions. At this moment, a wooden bowl full of meat is placed in front of her. Zane looks at her expectantly. Try my cooking today and see how it is. He has no experience taking care of females. He can never get the heat right when pan-frying meat, so he's been practicing in private. Kira sees his expectant little eyes, picks up chopsticks, takes a piece of meat, and starts eating. So delicious. Zane, your cooking skills have improved. Hearing her praise, Zane's heart blooms with joy, but he only smiles lightly on the surface. Coral says somewhat embarrassedly, "It smells so good. Can I have some too? I know it's a bit presumptuous, but I'm really tempted." Kira quickly passes the bowl over. Eat, eat! My mate's cooking is excellent. Try it. While speaking, Kira secretly glances at Zane with her peripheral vision. Although she doesn't think Zane would be petty, this is meat he pan-fried for her, and she's sharing it like this. Kira worries he might be a bit unhappy. Zane continues pan-frying meat while smiling. If there's not enough, there's more in the pan. He noticed Kira sneaking glances at him and finds it somewhat amusing. She's too cute. Of course he wouldn't mind Coral eating the meat he pan-fried. On the contrary, he's very grateful to Coral's family for taking care of Kira. Being good to Kira is being good to him. Zane turns around and smiles at Victor standing to the side. Victor feels his gaze and looks at him questioningly. "What do you want?" "Nothing. I just want you to help cut all the beef in my space into small pieces so it's convenient for me to cook for Kira later." Victor doesn't understand. You're a 9th-tier beastman. Cutting meat into small pieces is just a matter of moving your finger. Why do you need my help? Zane glances at him and speaks lightly. "My power is too strong. Even my lowest power fire blade would cook the meat directly, and ice blades would freeze the meat. I'd still have to thaw it. Too troublesome." Upon hearing this, Victor's face darkens. Damn, how does it feel like he's being looked down upon? Next, Victor starts cutting meat with a black expression, while Zane puts the meat pieces into his space. During this time, his pan-frying doesn't stop. One hand storing meat, the other hand pan-frying and flipping. Kira and Coral watch from the side, stunned. "Kira, don't you feel your mate has become more handsome?" Coral eats meat while staring at her own mate, releasing abilities to cut meat. Kira also eats while watching. Yes, he has. Right? I suddenly feel my mate has become so charming and handsome too. Our thoughts really are the same. Kira laughs at her words. She knows why Coral says this, because men who work seriously are the most charming. Kira slowly leans toward Coral, then mischievously whispers to her, "Since you like him so much, have a child with Victor. Better yet, have one that looks like him. Then you'll have a mini Victor." Coral's eyes light up upon hearing this. A mini Victor sounds pretty good. Coral speaks directly. "Victor, sleep with me tonight." Victor is somewhat surprised. It's not his turn to accompany Coral tonight. Why is she suddenly asking him to stay? Beside them, Zane glances knowingly at his mate and smiles. At this moment, Kira doesn't realize that her one sentence is about to make a certain male lose his chance to serve. Coral has 5 beast mates. Each mate takes turns resting with Coral. Tonight it's Klaus's turn to accompany Coral. At this moment, in a nearby cave, Klaus is still carefully arranging tonight's bed, happily anticipating tonight's alone time. Soon, Kira and Coral finish eating. After Victor helps Zane clean and put everything away, Coral also says goodbye to Kira and goes home. A few hours later, Klaus looks hurt as he stares at Coral. It was supposed to be his turn to rest with Coral tonight. How did it become Victor's turn after one trip out? He spent so much time carefully arranging everything. Seeing Klaus's hurt expression, Coral feels bad. It was indeed his turn to rest with her, and suddenly changing people is somewhat unfair to him. Coral says somewhat embarrassedly, Then you both rest with me." Both men's eyes light up upon hearing this. After nightfall, outside the cave is pitch black. If you listen carefully, you can faintly hear some intimate sounds. Kira nestles in Zane's embrace. She gently caresses her belly and asks, "Do you think after 60 days you'll be able to sense whether the children are male or female?" Zane places his hand on her small abdomen and speaks tenderly, I guess they should all be male. In my clan, I don't think I've ever heard of females being born." Upon hearing this, Kira feels somewhat indignant. What if they're female? Just because you haven't seen them doesn't mean they don't exist, right? Zane thinks for a moment, if they're female, I'll definitely protect her well and not let her suffer any harm. My children deserve the best this world has to offer. Kira's mouth twitches. So he's a daughter-obsessed father. Kira suddenly wants to tease him and asks playfully, "What if the children are male? Will you treat them the same way?" But Zane speaks without mercy. "If they're male, I'll throw them out to live independently." This statement directly scares Kira. She sits up immediately and looks at him. "Zane, if you dare throw my sons out to live on their own, I won't want you anymore." Kira is somewhat angry. She worked so hard to carry and give birth to them, and he actually says he'd throw them out. If Zane dares throw the children out, she'll throw Zane out first. Zane doesn't quite understand her reaction. In the beast world, males are naturally more independent. Males learn to hunt with their fathers from a young age, which is dangerous but also a test. Weak males don't deserve to live. This is the rule of the beast world. Zane is silent for a while, then sits up to look at her. If you don't want me, who will take care of you? If you can't bear to part with the children, we can keep them by our side for a while. I can afford to raise them. Upon hearing this, Kira gets even angrier. What do you mean, keep them by our side for a while? Zane doesn't dare say much, not understanding why she's so angry. Kira's emotions surge at this moment. Speak. What do you mean by keeping them by our side for a while? Zane explains. In my inherited memory, the Royal Serpent clan has always been like this. I was thrown out by my father to live independently from birth, so I've been fighting for survival since childhood. My 9th tier strength didn't come easily. Talent is important, but effort is also crucial. Males of other species are the same. Males naturally need to be strong, or how can they support themselves and their mates? Zane's explanation calms Kira down. She forgot that she's now living in a beast world in another dimension, not the modernized 21 Stone century. I'm sorry, I got a bit too emotional. This world is cruel. Without sufficient strength, you become food for wild beasts, just like when she first transmigrated and could only barely eat enough by catching fish. Zane looks at the dejected Kira in front of him with some heartache. Fine. He's a 9th tier beastman after all. There aren't many who could match him. If his mate can't bear to part with the children, he'll keep them by his side. He'll figure out how to teach them later. Kira, if you can't bear to part with the children, keep them by your side. I'm very strong, and taking care of you all won't be a problem, as long as you're happy. Hearing his words, Kira freezes. She looks up at him, just staring without saying a word. Zane feels uncomfortable under her gaze. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Kira says nothing, only throws herself into his arms. She knows Zane considers her very important enough to abandon the beast world's rules for her. Kira just holds him like this, and he silently circles her body with his arms. After a long time, Kira softly asks, Zane, will you be completely loyal and devoted to me? Upon hearing this, Zane holds the person in his arms even tighter. He answers seriously and firmly, Of course, Kira, we're already mated. You're my beloved whom I'll protect with my life. You don't need to doubt this. The two embrace each other for quite a while, neither speaking, just holding each other tightly. During this time, Kira makes a decision. She decides to tell Zane about being a soul from another world. She's not acting impulsively. As a soul from the 21st century, she's destined to be unable to continue living in the primitive beastman way. Stone pots and bowls are just the beginning. Although the beastmen are simple-minded and get along well, and no one has thought deeply about this aspect. But if someone raises questions, everyone will realize that what she's done is far too advanced for this tribe, at least. In the future, she'll definitely make other things and might recognize more plants. She definitely can't hide it from Zane. He'll suspect sooner or later, and he's traveled to so many places and seen so much, he's even more likely to notice. So she decides to tell him everything. She trusts Zane. Kira pulls back from his embrace. She looks at him very seriously. Zane, I want to ask you, no matter what I do, will you always stand by my side? Seeing her speak so seriously, Zane also answers seriously, of course. No matter what you do, I'll always stand by your side. After taking a deep breath, Kira slowly says, I want to tell you something. This might be a bit unbelievable, but it's the truth. If you have any thoughts, you can tell me. Rarely seeing Kira so serious, Zane quickly sits up straight and nods to her. Zane, actually, I'm not the real Kira. I'm a soul who transmigrated from another world. Kira speaks while carefully watching his expression. But obviously, Zane doesn't quite understand. Actually, before you found me, the owner of this body had already died. I happened to transmigrate and possess this body. You could say I had just regained breath when you found me. Do you understand? Zane thinks for a moment and asks, you mean the original owner of this body had already died? You transmigrated and took over this body and revived, right? Kira's heart is somewhat nervous at this moment. That's right. The original Kira had already died. The current me is a different Kira. Zane shows no expression and she can't guess his thoughts for a moment, and then leaves Kira completely bewildered. She'd pictured all kinds of possibilities, that he might treat her like a monster or even shove her out the door to tell everyone. But she never imagined a scene like this. Is that it? I said I'm not the owner of this body, and I'm not from this world. Aren't you surprised? Don't you have anything to say? At this moment, Kira feels this scene is too bizarre. Zane sweeps the person in front of him back into his arms, surprised. But is this important? You're still you. It's you who's been living with me. Whether you're the original Kira or not doesn't matter. He doesn't care about all this talk of transmigration or not being the original body's owner. He doesn't care. He only knows that the person he's embracing is her. And that's enough. Kira never expected this reaction from him. At this moment, she feels her originally empty heart suddenly filled with something. Suddenly hearing quiet sobbing from the person in his arms, Zane panics immediately. Kira, what's wrong? Did I do something wrong? Don't cry. What did I do wrong? Tell me, I'll change. Zane tries to comfort her heartbrokenly, but unexpectedly, Kira cries even louder. Kira looks up at him. Why don't you mind at all? Hearing that I transmigrated to this world. Aren't you afraid? Seeing her red, swollen eyes from crying, Zane feels a pang of heartache. Mind what? Mind that you're not the original body's owner? He looks directly into her eyes. Kira, you seem to have always gotten one thing wrong. You said you transmigrated here and then I found you, right? Kira nods like a pecking chick. Then that's it. From beginning to end, I've only known you. From the start, it was you who met me. What should I mind? Kira is stunned. Indeed, that's right. She transmigrated here and then had contact with Zane. The original soul had already died by then. Seeing her emotions gradually improve, Zane breathes a sigh of relief at the bottom of his heart. You ask why I'm not afraid. I'm a 9th-tier beastman. There are probably less than 2 people on this continent who could be my match. What could a weak female like you do to me? After understanding, Kira feels like she's about to break. Is pregnancy brain really a thing? She thought she was quite smart. But how did she become like this now? Zane speaks seriously, Kira. When I watched you teach everyone to make stone pots and bowls, I thought you must be different somehow. How different? Kira feels like what she thought before might be coming true. I've been to many places and seen quite a few super tribes, but no tribe does things like you do. Some tribes do eat cooked meat, but it's limited to just making the meat cooked, not to mention making stone pots and such. And you discovered the uses of plants like chili peppers and ginger. This is enough to show you're different. Zane's words make Kira's heart skip a beat. As expected, like she thought, the things she's done are still too advanced and will definitely arouse suspicion. Kira falls into melancholy for a moment. Suddenly thinking of something, Kira asks somewhat tentatively, what if I say I have nature power abilities in the future when others ask? But her words are immediately refuted by Zane. No, do you know what it means for a female to awaken nature power? If the news gets out, Super Tribe Beastmen will soon come looking for you and take you away. It's already difficult for females to awaken abilities, and nature power abilities are even rarer. You'll be trained as a high-level shaman, and eventually replace them to become the next high-level shaman. But you're not really awakened to abilities after all. There will always be a day when you're exposed. At that time, you'll become a guilty beast, and guilty beasts will be killed. He's traveled to so many places, and only the high-level shaman of Tuya tribe has nature power abilities. After hearing Zane's words, Kira deflates. After all, she's not a local and thought things too simply. It's very late. Lie down and rest, Zane says while embracing her and lying down. Kira feels another wave of emotion at this moment. No wonder everyone likes that sturdy physique. It really gives a sense of security when held. Zane, after the children are born, what names do you want to give them? Upon hearing this, Zane falls silent. He really hasn't considered this question. You're the children's mother. You name the children. I'll listen to you, Kira begins thinking. Soon, a name suddenly appears in her mind. Zane, I thought of a name! I think it's super good. Hearing the excitement in her voice, Zane is also infected and asks with a light laugh, what name? Cairo, does it sound good? Kira is very satisfied with this name. Zane murmurs, Cairo, good, really a good name. Kira, you're really good at naming. Finally, Kira decides on names for the 3 children. Eldest Cairo, second Lyran, third Albin. Kira is very satisfied. She can't help but admire herself, truly worthy of being a woman who's read countless novels. Just as she's thinking, a magnetic voice sounds in her ear. Kira, I'm very curious. What did calling me darling before mean? It's a term for mates in my world. I see. Then call me that again. You haven't called me that for several days. Kira's mouth curves up. Is he acting cute? Darling, Kira calls sweetly. This darling makes Zane's heart tingle. He lowers his voice. Call me once more. Kira obediently calls sweetly again. The next second, Kira is lifted up, and a passionate, fierce kiss falls down. After quite a while, Zane finally releases her. But the next second, he quickly gets up and walks toward the cave entrance. Kira, sleep first. I'm going out for a bit. Kira watches him walk to the entrance and take the water barrel with him. Is it what she thinks? All these days, he's been very proper, showing no intentions in that regard. She thought he was quite pure-minded. But of course, she's pregnant now, so even if he had ideas, he couldn't act on them. Zane carries the water barrel outside for a cold shower, but obviously the desire that's been ignited hasn't subsided in the slightest, and the water in the barrel is already used up. So he directly transforms into beast form, his tail coiling around the large wooden barrel as he heads straight to the water's edge. Zane soaks in the water for a long time, finally suppressing that surge of desire. He lets out a long sigh. He's never been in contact with females before, let alone mating. Every time his heat cycle came, he'd find some remote place to stay alone, then use his power to suppress it, and that was basically fine. But now that he's mated, if he doesn't think about it, it's fine, but once he has that thought, it's really... He still remembers those days after Kira left were simply torturous. Kira originally planned to wait for him to return before sleeping, but after waiting a long time without seeing him come back, she got sleepy waiting and fell asleep while waiting. This sleep leaves Kira feeling completely refreshed. When she wakes up, she sees him still lying beside her. Kira is a bit surprised, because these past days, every time she woke up, she couldn't see him beside her anymore. Kira mutters quietly, "Did he get tired last night?" The next second, Zane pulls her into his arms. "What are you saying, Kira?" Kira is curious. "How did you wake up?" "I was speaking so quietly, and this woke you up?" "I wake up when you wake up." When Kira wakes up and turns over, he wakes up too. "Did I wake you up? Were you tired last night?" Zane is puzzled. "Tired? Why would I be tired?" Kira says with a red face, in a small voice. "Didn't you go out last night too?" Zane seriously plays dumb. "Not tired. I just saw the wooden barrel, had no water, so I went out to fetch a bucket of water." "Oh, I understand. Zane kisses her forehead and then gets up. "Are you hungry? Today let's try meat with energy and see how it works." Upon hearing this, Kira is very curious. What do you mean by meat with energy? Zane explains everything from start to finish. Meat with energy is prey he caught in Misty Forest. He hadn't dared give it to Kira before because he was afraid her body was too weak to handle it all at once. Now, after 10 days of nourishing with the beast mark and transferring quite a bit of energy to her, her physical condition should be fine. Kira is a bit excited. This meat looks good. Let's try it quickly. After washing up, Kira sits by the stone pot waiting for Zane to pan-fry meat. Zane takes the meat out of his space. He's already cleaned this meat, so he puts it directly in the pot to pan-fry. Soon, the aroma of meat fills the entire cave. Meat with energy really does smell different, more fragrant than ordinary wild beast meat. Kira swallows her saliva. What kind of meat is this? It seems much more fragrant than ordinary wild beast meat. This is giant sheep meat, very good for replenishing body energy. This is the type of wild beast I hunt most often. It only has the equivalent strength of a 7th-tier beastman, Zane explains while flipping the meat in the pot. Kira's expression looks a bit conflicted. So it's mutton. In her previous life, she couldn't eat mutton. She'd throw up every time she ate it. Not for any other reason, purely because mutton was too gamey. Finally, she gave up completely and never ate it again. Zane focuses intently on pan-frying the meat, not noticing Kira's expression. The meat is ready. Zane picks up a small piece of meat, blows on it to cool it down, then feeds it to Kira. Kira frowns slightly as she eats it, then is very surprised the next second. It tastes really good. So fragrant and tender. She didn't expect this mutton to have no gamey taste at all. And it's actually very tender, very fragrant and sweet. Is all the meat quality in the beast world this good? After the meat is completely eaten, Kira feels her body getting a bit warm, but this feeling quickly disappears, probably absorbed by the children. Kira is enjoying her meal when a voice comes from the cave entrance again. Kira, are you awake? This voice sounds somewhat familiar. Kira looks at Zane, who understands and gets up to walk toward the entrance. Soon, Zane brings Hunter in. Kira asks while eating meat, "What brings you to see me?" Hunter's expression is somewhat heavy at this moment. He looks at Kira with shame. "I've investigated everything clearly. The meat originally meant for you was stolen by a beastman named Rex. Rex is a 4th-tier beastman. Because of his weak personality, he's never found a mate. When delivering the meat, he was coincidentally seen by a female named Xena. At first, Xena thought this was Rex's own hunted prey, and that giving Kira meat meant Rex wanted to pursue Kira as a mate. Xena felt that such a capable male shouldn't be taken by a weak female inferior to her. So Xena began approaching Rex, telling him that if he gave her the meat, she would become mates with Rex. Rex quickly explained that this meat wasn't his own. It was meat the chief asked him to deliver to Kira. But after Xena learned the truth, she said Rex only needed to give her half the meat. Rex was very tempted, but didn't agree immediately. Xena felt the temptation she offered might not be enough, so she took the initiative to have relations with Rex. Rex rarely interacted with females and couldn't resist this temptation at all. Later, Rex followed Xena's wishes and gave her half the meat. Later, Xena became more excessive, demanding more and more meat. In the end, only a small piece reached Kira. This is the complete story. I came to ask how you want to handle this. It's that bad female Xena again. Kira is silent for a while, then says, "How does the tribe want to handle this?" She wants to see what kind of resolution the tribe will give first. If she's satisfied, she won't say much. If she's not satisfied, then she'll express her own thoughts. Of course, if they don't agree, she doesn't mind having Zane have a good talk with them. Hunter is silent. Xena is a female with poor character, but she has 2 mates who are both lion beastmen. Kira, would this work? Have Xena and Rex apologize to you, then have their family provide all your food until you give birth. Hunter speaks while watching Kira's expression. Kira furrows her brow. The house doesn't lack food now. 30 days of food? What kind of punishment is that? She's not satisfied with this result. Kira speaks coldly. What if I say I'm not satisfied? Her cold attitude shocks Hunter. What he feared has come to pass. Then what do you want to do, Kira? Kira speaks very calmly. I want Xena and Rex to get out of the tribe. Upon hearing this, Hunter looks troubled. This is very difficult to handle. Xena is originally a female from the tribe. Her father and mother are both lion beastmen. Moreover, 2 of her mates are also lion beastmen. Comparatively speaking, Kira can't even be considered a tribal female yet. Even knowing Xena is in the wrong, the tribal beastman would still lean toward Xena. Besides, if we drive Xena out, her father and mother will definitely make trouble. If we drive Xena out, her beast mates will definitely follow her. There are several tribes living in this forest. Besides Lion King tribe, the strongest is Giant Elephant tribe, followed by Black Wolf tribe and finally Fox tribe. After they leave Lion King tribe, they'll definitely find a tribe to join. If they want revenge on Lion King tribe, with their understanding of the tribe, they might very well unite with their new tribe to siege Lion King tribe. Then, the tribe would fall into dire straits. Hunter speaks somewhat heavily, then explains all his considerations, hoping Kira can understand. Unexpectedly, Kira reacts very calmly, because she guessed this result. Kira's tone suddenly becomes icy. I want Xena and Rex to kneel all the way from the tribe entrance to my home, sincerely kneeling an apology to me. Other than this, there's no negotiation. Hunter was about to persuade further, but the words stop at his lips. He knows Kira is serious now. Seeing his hesitant expression, Kira adds another coldly spoken sentence. This is my bottom line. If he's unwilling, I don't mind having my mate kill her mates. As her words fall, Zane beside them casually raises blue, ghostly ice flames in his palm. In an instant, the temperature in the cave drops several degrees. Hunter knows this is a warning from him, I understand. I'll have Xena and Rex come apologize to you. I'll leave first. With that, he gets up and quickly walks out of the cave. After Hunter leaves, Kira doesn't even have the mood to eat anymore. She just doesn't understand. This Xena clearly has several mates, and their abilities aren't bad either. Can't they support just her alone? Why did she do this? Why steal the meat? She clearly knew the original soul couldn't get food, clearly knew no males liked or cared for her. She clearly knew, but she still stole the meat that originally belonged to the original soul. Some people are just born bad. This beastman called Rex is equally disgusting. The more Kira thinks about, the angrier she gets. At this moment, she really wishes she could go beat her up. Thinking and thinking, tears suddenly flow down, seeing Kira crying. Zane quickly steps forward and holds her in his arms. He's very heartbroken. What's wrong? Why are you crying? If you're not satisfied, I'll go kill them, okay? I'm just not satisfied. How can there be beasts this bad? She clearly knew she had no food source but still wanted to steal. Her mind is filled with images of the original soul, unable to get enough food, dragging her skeletal body to pick wild fruits alone, all for that little bit of food that could fill her stomach. Zane is almost heartbroken to death at this moment. This is the first time he's seen Kira cry so severely. Kira cries breathlessly. She's completely fallen into sadness now, grieving for the deceased original soul. You've done enough, Kira. If she could see, she would understand you. Zane has no choice but to bring up the children. Don't cry anymore. Too much crying is bad for the children. Sure enough, after hearing it's bad for the children, Kira stops crying heavily, though her whole body is still shaking with sobs. Zane gently pats her back to help her breathe, softly comforting Kira while his eyes flash with sinister intent. Just then, footsteps echo from the cave entrance as Hunter walks in with a dejected expression. Kira, I'm sorry. Hunter looks troubled. Xena and Rex refuse to apologize. Kira stops sobbing and looks up at him. They refuse? Xena says she did nothing wrong, and Rex claims that meat should go to those who need it more. Hunter says through gritted teeth. They stubbornly refuse to admit it. A flash of killing intent crosses Zane's eyes. In that case, I'll directly— Wait! Kira wipes away her tears and suddenly shows a meaningful smile. Hunter, call everyone here. I have something to say publicly. Everyone? Yes, including Xena and Rex. Tell them I want to publicly clarify this matter. Kira's eyes gleam with wisdom. Half an hour later, the tribe center fills with beastmen. Xena and Rex are invited by Hunter, standing reluctantly in the crowd. Kira stands before everyone, her voice clear as she says, Dear neighbors, I need to inform everyone about something today. The chief mentioned to me yesterday that he had previously sent me several pieces of meat cured with red leaf powder, but somehow they went missing. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Kira pauses, then continues. This new curing method came from another tribe, but we recently discovered that red leaf powder is toxic, though the toxicity is mild, long-term consumption, especially when eaten with certain wild mushrooms, will cause severe contagious stomach illness. Everyone's faces change as they begin discussing among themselves. Contagious stomach illness is dangerous and spreads to those in close contact. Kira says with concern, so I must confirm who exactly took my meat. If someone ate it, they need to drink bitter willow juice immediately to detoxify. The crowd grows restless as people ask each other if anyone took Kira's meat. Kira's gaze sweeps across the gathering, finally landing on Xena. If someone really did steal those pieces of meat, confess now while there's still time. Bitter willow juice may be bitter, but it's better than getting a contagious disease, let alone spreading it to your family. Xena's face turns pale instantly, cold sweat beginning to form on her forehead. Coral shouts loudly from the crowd, Speak up! If someone really took it, don't harm everyone. Other beastmen chime in, That's right, confess quickly. Contagious disease is no joke. Under everyone's stare, Xena becomes increasingly panicked. She stammers, trying to make excuses, but the words stick in her throat. Finally, under enormous pressure, Xena breaks down. I ate a little, but just a small piece. The entire gathering falls silent, everyone's expressions varied. Kira feigns sudden realization. So you were the one who stole my meat. No wonder I couldn't find it. Xena wants to defend herself, but the surrounding beastmen's eyes say it all. A mated female actually stealing food from a pregnant woman. Since you've admitted it, drink the bitter willow juice quickly, Kira says kindly, watching Xena tremblingly accept the dark green juice. Zane stands nearby completely dumbfounded. After the meat-stealing incident involving Xena, Kira's reputation in the tribe reaches new heights. 3 days later, when news of Xena's poisoning and continuous diarrhea spreads throughout the tribe, no one dares to underestimate this seemingly fragile female anymore. This morning, Kira teaches Coral how to make new tools. Kira, what is this? Coral curiously looks at what Kira weaves in her hands. This is called a fishing net. Kira skillfully weaves the vines. Using this to catch fish is much more efficient than catching them by hand. One cast can catch several fish. Coral's eyes light up. Really? That's wonderful. Soon, word spreads and another group of beastmen gathers at Kira's cave entrance. Kira, can you teach us? This fishing net looks amazing. We're willing to trade prey for it. Kira smiles and begins demonstrating, not only teaching the fishing net weaving method but also how to make simple fish hooks and spears. This way, even during the rainy season when water levels rise, we can still catch enough fish. Kira explains. Later, every technique Kira teaches dramatically improves the tribe's beastmen's quality of life. and Kira's status rises accordingly. Now, not only do the beastmen of this tribe treat her with great respect, but other tribes also send people to seek her guidance. The Black Wolf tribe is willing to trade 3 giant deer for the fishing net making method. The giant elephant tribe hopes to learn food preservation techniques and will provide the finest beast hides. Zane watches his mate being surrounded by crowds, his heart full of pride. Who would dare say his Kira is just a frail female now? She has carved out an untouchable position for herself in this world where survival of the fittest rules.